Good morning and welcome to 755 Live, about 5 minutes of what Jesus said. And the command today, make peace first. Good morning, Susie. Glad to see you and your mom checking in today. By the way, if this is meaningful to you, it really helps if you like it, if you share it, if you comment on social media. It really would mean a lot to me and makes a difference as we just spread the good news of Jesus. Good morning, Jennifer. Glad to see you checking in today. These 755 Live segments are just soundbite versions of the commands and example of Jesus. Good morning, Malcolm. And you can find a different command of Jesus at our weekday Bible plan at bible.today.church. So let's get into the command for today. Jesus said, make peace first. This comes from Matthew 5, 23 and 24. But I want to read some context here. So we're going to start in verse 21, where Jesus said, you have heard that it was said to an older generation, do not murder. One of the commands of the law. And whoever murders will be subject to judgment. But I say to you that anyone who is angry with a brother will be subject to judgment. And whoever insults a brother will be brought before the council. And whoever says fool will be sent to fiery hell. It's in that context that Jesus says, so then, if you bring your gift to the altar and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to your brother, and then come and present your gift. We'll talk about that reconciliation in a minute. But Jesus continues in verse 25 and says, reach agreement quickly with your accuser while on the way to court, or he may hand you over to the judge, and the judge hand you over to the warden, and you'll be thrown into prison. The context here is about mercy and forgiveness and reconciliation, but even against your accuser. In this culture, when you talked about a gift, you were talking about a temple sacrifice, an act of worship. And sometimes we get caught up in the gift and not in the reconciliation. Jesus talked about in Matthew 9, which may not seem related, but I think we can draw some analogies here. The Pharisees, the religious people of the day who were good at giving gifts, good at the sacrifice and worship, they asked the disciples, why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners? Why is he hanging out around with these undesirables? And when Jesus heard this in Matthew 9:12, he said, those who are healthy don't need a physician, but those who are sick do. Go and learn what this means. I want mercy and not sacrifice, for I did not come to call the righteous, but sinners. Now, Jesus is quoting here from Hosea 6:6, which is about reconciliation and restoration in the context of sacrifice. That the sacrifice isn't about obtaining mercy. What God wants is for us to be merciful, and that is the sacrifice. Romans 12, verse 15 tells us to rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep. Mercy has to do with empathy. It says in verse 16, live in harmony with one another. Don't be haughty, but associate with the lowly. Don't be conceited. Don't repay anyone evil for evil. Remember, it says don't repay anyone evil for evil. Consider what is good before all people. If possible, as far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all people. All people? Yeah. Because hypocrisy justifies itself by condemning others. Asking the question, who's my neighbor? Who's my brother? Who do I really need to forgive? Who do I need to be nice to? Galatians 6:1 tells us that we are to restore another who has fallen with considering ourselves and with mercy. It's restoration and reconciliation. 2 Corinthians 5:18 tells us that we are actually given the ministry or the job, the servanthood of reconciliation. Jesus said, when you go to offer your gift, make peace first. It's not about the sacrifice. It's about the reconciliation. Who are we holding something against? Who is my neighbor? Who is my brother? Sacrifice isn't to get mercy. It's to remind us of mercy so that we can be merciful to others. As we give our gifts, as we make sacrifices for the kingdom, we should remember to make peace first. Who are we holding something against? Who are we blaming or condemning? Jesus said, make peace first. How can we put that into action